Yeah, hi, I'm Matt Place, a designer on Hearthstone.
My name is Mike Donais. I'm also a designer on Hearthstone.
Well, dinosaurs are awesome. It was where we started, right? So just a lot of fun, and it opens it up to, it's so fun to say, okay, if we go to this new setting, right, this unexplored world, right, that people have seen in World of Warcraft, but we're going to go deeper into, and then what does that mean to all the classes? Who's going to get the big dinosaurs? Who's going to do the evil dinosaurs, right, the poisonous ones? So it's a lot of fun to explore. What does it mean to Hearthstone, which is always fun for all the sets. Yeah, just to explore it. So I'll let Mike answer this one too. I'm super excited. I love it when there's a rotation or a new set comes out and what that means to ladder. And I think it's going to be huge for Ungoro because we're going to have tons of players exploring all of these quests, right? What's the best way to make them work, right? The Rogue one, for an example, play 4 of the same minion. How do you make that work? What is the minion that you want to play 4 times, right? So I can't wait till players are exploring this. I'm going to be focused on Priest and Death Rattle. So I'm going to have a lot of fun too. But I love that when every time you queue up in ladder, you get this new crazy deck that you're facing. So I think it's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun making the quests. Each one of them pushes a new idea. For example, Shaman now has a Murloc quest, and with Ungoro, there's also elementals in Shaman. So you can choose how you want to build your deck and how you want to play. You're gonna have to look back at all the old Murlocs and all the old elementals and the old sets and brew something up, mixing them together the right way and the way you want to mix them. I think that's a lot of fun. Yeah, absolutely. The Mage quest is my favorite. Unfortunately, it hasn't been announced yet. In a week we'll announce it. And of the ones that have been announced, I really like the Priest one and the Rogue one. They're pretty different. The Priest one lets you play with death rattles and gives you a chance to heal up to 40, which is something Priests have needed to do because combo decks can often do a whole bunch of damage at once. And if they can get up to 40, they can get out of that burst range. And in addition to that, you can put in N'Zoth, and N'Zoth has always been a card that I enjoyed playing. So having another opportunity to play it and for it to be really strong again I'm looking forward to that. Well, I think people have expressed a lot of really positivity towards quests. Everyone seems to really like the idea and the actual quests. And whenever we make a new mechanic, we wait to see what happens, if people enjoy them or not, before deciding if we want to keep doing it. With Discover is a great example of one that we kept doing, and there's other ones like Inspire, which we haven't done yet, but one day we could do Inspire because the mechanic was pretty solid and it's still out there. So Quest is sort of in the same boat. We can decide as we move forward if we want to do it again, if it fits the set really well, and if it's been well received.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, right? Because quests kind of open that door for what would it mean for a legendary spell that's not a quest, but something else. So yeah, that door's open now, and we don't currently, have any announcements about doing something like that, but I think it's fun to leave that open, right? Because what would it mean? And I think if we do it, it would have a reason why there's only one of it, right? Like a lot of minions, and certainly quests, have a clear reason. Okay, there's one of in this deck. I love that space that the quests fill, which is, yes, this is a legendary spell, you can only have one, but it starts in your opening hand, you only want one, right? And you're building your whole deck around it, right? So it's fun, the idea of like, hey, what does it mean in the future? What else could we do with legendary spells?
Yeah, the quests actually have been set up not to show up in arena mode. We playtested them in the arena mode, and the problem was you couldn't get enough build around cards sometimes, and it wasn't really fun. Sometimes you would find them late in the arena draft. The Priest quest, you need to play 7 Death Rattle minions, and just often you don't see 7 Death Rattle minions. So we've just completely removed quests from arena mode. We also made it so that you can't randomly generate a quest from a card that discovers or randomly adds a spell to your hand. Because again, you need to build around them very heavily, and it was kind of like not a great feel.
Yeah, so we're always looking for fun ways to kind of blow people's minds, right? And Elise originally did that. So how could we do it? What we wanted to do it again, we wanted it to be different. And so Peter Whalen actually on the team had the idea of, hey, what if you get a booster from the, a pack from the new set? So it's really fun, and I love Hadija made the effects for it, right? And have you guys seen it? Right, you see a little booster go into your deck, and it's really fun. Yeah, it's just kind of a crazy concept that makes people ask, wait, you could do that? You could just shuffle a booster into your deck? Yeah, kind of fun. We don't like a lot of things. We throw it out there and we go, oh, this is fun. Do we want to do it again? Do we want to do it in a different way? Or do we want to come up with a new idea that kind of blows people's minds? Maybe similar, maybe different, but we're always looking for that stuff, right? Because it's just so fun.
Yeah, one of our main objectives is Hearthstone needs to be fun. As fun as we can make it as often as possible. And I think that both with the rotation to Wild and with the release of a new expansion, there are great opportunities for Hearthstone to be fun. You need to discover new ways to build decks. You need to discover whole new deck types, and that's all going to happen with the release of Un'Goro. I think the quests are guaranteed to have a lot of experimentation. There's lots of other cards in the set of different types that also create a bunch of opportunities for experimentation. And a lot of decks that you knew, like Dragon decks, they're losing a lot of cards, and Reno Jackson's leaving. So those decks disappearing, what does that mean? Sometimes it means those decks just fade away, but it also might mean new decks that you couldn't play before suddenly become viable. So players are going to have to figure that out, and that's a really fun experience. I think the release of new cards is something that's really important for a fresh meta. And that's kind of the reason that we added 3 big expansions a year. We got a lot of feedback that people wanted more cards, and having 3 sets of 130 cards, it's really going to help with that. And on top of that, there's still this pressure about 2 months or 3 months into an expansion that we feel where people have played the cards a lot and they're kind of anxious for more cards. Oftentimes, people have decided on what the best deck is. And it kind of doesn't even matter if it is the best deck. It just sort of matters what people have decided, because now everyone starts playing it. And there's more communication on the internet about that. There's reports and things where people try to collect data to find the best deck, and that really accelerates how quickly people digest the content. So I think it's more likely that we're going to need to keep discussing what to do and maybe making adjustments to cards or card releases or something that. So I don't think we've solved everything. I think it's just still an open question. We're just going to keep learning and doing what we need to do to make the game fun.
Yeah, and to that point, I think for players, it's fun to have a fresh meta, and it's also fun to have an evolving meta. So that's something I'm really excited about with Un'Goro is cards like Tar Creeper. That if aggro's really good, this is a great card to kind of mix it up, right? If everybody's running Tar Creeper, well, maybe you don't want to run aggro as much, right? So it might shift the meta, because then if Tar Creepers are in everybody's deck, which they're not good against control because they're only attacking for 1, well, maybe it goes back to no Tar Creepers. I love cards like this, which Un'Goro has a few of, right? You can now have your crab that eats your opponent's pirates, right? So having those cards that help change the metagame will keep it fresh even 2 to 3 months in, right? So at the beginning, obviously, we're going to get a huge amount of, because we're rotating, we're going to have a huge new meta, right? And all these quests that give people new directions to play. But that's something that's cool about Un'Goro too, is just keeping it fresh 2 and 3 months in. So I'm optimistic. It was not an easy decision. I'll let Mike talk about it.
Yeah, we actually love Ragnaros. We think he's an important part of Hearthstone. He's kind of a famous character in the game. So we were really hesitant to move him. But we do have other cards that are awesome. We also have things like Ragnaros Lightlord, and there's going to be new famous cards like Reno Jackson came out and he became a big part. Elise. So there's other characters in the game that can also become famous as we go through it. So I think moving Ragnaros, it hurt, but it also helped the game a lot. The main goal again with Hearthstone is for people to have fun, and you're having a lot more fun when a new expensive minion comes out, like a 7, 8, or 9 cost minion, and you're like, oh, how does that affect the metagame? How does it affect my deck? Should I play that? Right now, a lot of the time, it's just, actually, I'm just going to keep playing Ragnaros, right? And I think that was really hurting the amount of fun and the amount of experimentation. It reduced the different things you would fight against on ladder. So I think just having the whole point of the standard rotation is to have new things all the time, and Ragnaros was stopping that from happening, and Sylvanas and Azure Drake. So I think we'll see a lot more fun because of it. I think announcing the ranks has added a lot of visibility into Arena. More people are playing it, more people are talking about it, more people are thinking about it, people take it more seriously. I think that has pros and cons. One of the things we've noticed is people are a little bit more hesitant to play Arena because they're like, ooh, I don't want to do bad, because now I know that it matters. And one of the great things about Arena is you can just be really relaxed. It doesn't matter too much if you win or lose. No one's like looking at your rank. Your numbers aren't going up and down. You're just playing it for fun. So we want to make sure that we still make that available to the players that want to play that way. But I think there might be some more experimentation. Maybe we'll do eventually some more tournaments, or maybe we'll do some more visibility into the ranks or something like that.
Yeah, and to that, just real quick, I love Arena feeling like, it matters, and adding something to it. Also, it changing, I think, is great, right, with, being standard and having a new experience when we launch a new set. Can't wait to play it once Ungoro comes out. And that's something we've been talking about, is we love that feeling of Arena and Standard and Wild all feel different, right? If I love Ragnaros and I feel like playing him today, I can go to Wild and play that and have a different experience than Standard, where, nobody's going to be playing Ragnaros against me or me playing it. And then Arena, where I have a totally different experience than either of the constructed formats. So that's something that I think is really strong for Hearthstone, is finding the fun, the unique fun for each of the different formats. Yeah, so I think a lot of the fun is had when they're actually starting to separate. So as we release new sets and we rotate, Wild gets its own unique feel from Standard, right? When we first introduced Wild, they shared mostly the same card pool. But Ungoro is going to make that even more distinct for each one, which I think is a lot of fun. And as it becomes more unique, I think people are going to have a different incentive, right, to go play it. Oh, I want to have that old experience. Oh, I got this. I want to go play, my Ragnaros, like we were talking about, or other decks that I used to play. I think that'll be a lot of fun. I also expect, and I'll let Mike speak for himself, but as Wild gets wilder, right, as it gets more crazy, there might be some attention that we need to do that's not Standard balance, but to Wild itself, which I think is good for it, right? If it's getting crazy and fun and different, but the team needs to figure out, hey, what's the healthy version of Wild? I think that's good for everyone, to have that focus on it. And we're doing some events, right, where there's promotions for Wild this year.
Yeah, in addition to the events that we're doing for Wild, I think just the idea, like, Wild previously was mostly the same as Standard, but with some extra mechs, GVG and stuff. But now it's going to be, you've never played these Ungoro quests, you've never played all these cool new Ungoro cards, elementals and stuff like that in Wild. And maybe there's a couple of elementals specifically in Wild that you'd want to include the elemental decks like Ragnaros, but you won't be able to do that in Standard. So seeing how Wild is different from Standard, it's going to be more than it's ever been before. There's the Priest quest. Obviously, Death Rattle minions are going to be really important, and Wild has lots of really powerful Death Rattle minions.
Belcher. Yep.
Sludge Belcher, Dr. Boom, so these are really, really cool differences between Wild and Standard, and it's going to make people want to play that. One of the things that Wild is great for is you play Standard for a while and you're running into this Standard deck that you don't like, go play Wild. It's different, or you go play Arena, right? And having all three of them be different means you can just go play the one that you feel like playing right now and have a different experience. Yeah, I actually love combo decks. Combo decks are my favorite type of deck. But one of the experiences that a lot of players are unhappy about is when the board is empty, they feel like they're in control of the game, maybe they even have a bunch of minions, and then suddenly their opponent just kills them, right? And we saw that a little bit with Freeze Mage. We saw that a little bit with Aggressive Rogue in the old days, where they could cast Leroy in Cold Blood. And we want to avoid that, but we still want to make intricate cards and intricate plays. Some of our new cards in the set, like Shares in the Corpse Flower, that's a really interesting card to play because you have to make a lot of decisions like, well, normally I only want to play 3 spells this turn, but if I play 4 spells, Shares comes back to life. That's like a skillful decision because maybe you want to save it for next turn, and will this change up your play? And there's a bunch of cards like that. The Rogue Quest is a combo quest very much. You do all these kinds of tricks and you give up resources to get resources, and you actually want to make sure that you have some minions in play when you complete the quest because there'll be 5/5s that can attack if you do. So there's a lot of tricks in that, and it's a good example of combo that we think is a little bit more healthy. At the same time, we want to make new combo decks. We had Freeze Mage in the meta for 3 years, and that was a combo deck, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. It was very skill testing. But after 3 years, maybe that combo deck should move to wild, and a new combo deck should be tried out, right? And I think we're going to have some more new combo decks. Some of the quest rewards are very, very powerful, and I think they're going to feel a little bit like combo decks because they might have a lot of burst. We've seen the Paladin quest reward. He adapts 5 times. That's often just going to kill your opponent, right? Especially if you combine it with something like Blessing of Kings or Blessing of Might. So it's something that we're worried about, but if it's only around for a limited time, I think it'll be a better experience.
Right, yeah, I think that's when it's the most fun, is when you feel like every class has potential, and that's something I'm really excited about for Un'Goro. Everybody gets a quest, right? So there is a reason to try out each of these classes, and like Mike's been talking about, we're going to find out once we hand this to the players. We're going to find out how insane or balanced or whatever all the quests are. But that's kind of a fun world to be in, as this exploration, right? Pretty fitting for Un'Goro of how good are all these, and what should I do, and which classes quest do I want to play. I think also you're going to see a natural tendency for the power level of a class to kind of be like a wave, right? It's going to peak and it's going to valley, and that's just inherent to balancing a card game, right? So as long as the classes have their time to shine and they go down, but when they're down, the balance team and the initial design team are both looking to, okay, what do we give to Hunter? Hey, why don't we do a set all about beasts? Hey, perfect. So finding ways to bring up the ones that are at the bottom, finding ways to balance the ones that are at the top will continue that wave of that's healthy and fun, right? Oh, there's something new for my class that I wasn't playing last season much, or whatever. Yeah. Well, Mike's going to rap Battle Broad, and I can't wait. I'm very excited. I know who I'm betting on, and it's not Mike, but yeah. Do you want to show some off right now? Am I putting you on the spot here?
I'd like to, but I don't want to, show up Broad too much, so I'll skip it this time.
Yeah.